Resources Minister Martin Ferguson's determination this week to expand the Australian uranium industry certainly didn't win him any brownie points with the Greens. As Neil Woolrich reports, while uranium supporters are encouraged, it also showed the fractious and delicate nature of the current political environment, where achieving anything will be hard work.
It's the sticky tape that's holding a fragile government together. A month ago, there were smiles all round as the Greens formed a crucial alliance with the ALP. But now beaming faces are being replaced by heated policy debates, and a key battleground appears to be an issue that has dogged the Labor Party internally for the best part of 3 decades: uranium mining. The Greens want uranium mining banned, but now federal Labor is hoping to exploit the billions of dollars worth of resources that lie underground.
Well, I actually expect our export earnings to reach about $1.7 billion by about 2013-14, which represents a more than doubling of our export capacity in terms of earnings between now and 2013-14.
Martin Ferguson's comments are completely preemptive, and we've got people at all levels of government right now assessing and analysing the environmental, public health, transport impacts, and the minister's just come in over the top of all that and said he's going to be signing these things off no matter what. And I think it's a deliberate and quite provocative overriding of the processes that are underway at the moment.
But Martin Ferguson says the uranium industry's inevitable expansion will adhere to the best environmental and Indigenous rights practices.
I've got no intentions of interfering with that. I always respect them. If anything, I normally find it's people like Scott Ludlam who are running political campaigns aimed at ensuring those processes do not occur because they don't potentially like the outcomes.
While the ALP and Greens thrash out their differences, industry leaders say the heat has gone out of the uranium mining debate in Australia.
Particularly with the focus on climate change, I think people's attention has shifted to what are those electricity generating technologies which we can use in Australia to help address climate change. So I think the nuclear power issue is a much more salient issue for people these days than uranium mining was 4 years ago.
Michael Angwin argues that safety concerns about uranium mining have been overdone, and now is the right time to think about expanding the industry.
There are currently about 60 nuclear power plants under construction around the world, most of those in Asia, and I think we can expect to see quite rapid growth in the nuclear power industry around the world.
And resources analyst Warwick Grigger says there's money to be made, even though the uranium price has been in the doldrums for 18 months and sits around $48 a pound.
Well, that's the spot price. That's what speculators and punters focus on. But $60 a pound is a long-term price, and that's what you can achieve if you've got a good mine life, good reserves, and at that level, there are a number of projects in Australia that would make good profits.
While the industry is talking up its prospects, the ALP still has its own internal divisions to resolve. At the 2007 Labor National Conference, the party dumped its 25-year prohibition on new uranium mines. But state governments in Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland maintain their own bans.
If you draw a line between Karumba on the Gulf of Carpentaria and Mount Gambier in South Australia, you can mine to the west of that line that you can't mine to the east of that line. What a strange thing. The country's essentially the same on both sides of that line.
Queensland's got a political position at the moment which is in opposition to uranium mining, so be it. It will change as a matter of course, but in the meantime, other state and territories will get windfall gains out of the expansion of the industry.
While both of the major parties want to expand uranium mining, there's little support in Canberra for nuclear power. The Liberal Party says it's off the agenda, while Labor opposes nuclear power outright. But the head of Australia's nuclear research organisation says now is the time to rethink the issue.
Well, we're going to need more electricity generating capacity anyway, maybe twice as much in 2050 as we have today. It's going to have to be clean. That is, it can't be based upon fossil fuel. And when it comes to baseload electricity, the only alternative available to us, and to most other countries for that matter, is nuclear power.
Australia is the only nation in the world's top 25 economies without nuclear power, but that argument looks unlikely to sway the politicians.
Unlike a lot of other countries, we don't have to resort to nuclear power because we're rich in virtually every energy opportunity.
So this is simply not something that we can afford to do in Australia. And it's evidenced by the fact that if it were legal to build nuclear power stations in Australia, if the government said, all right, go ahead, electricity industry, build nuclear power stations in Australia, not a single one of them would be built.
But Ziggy Switkowski argues that once a carbon price is factored in, nuclear power becomes more commercial.
It's less expensive than wind and vastly less expensive than solar, but more expensive than what we currently have. But that's at the generating level, which is perhaps 40% of your bill. So your total bill may go up by perhaps 20% over 20 years.
However, with federal politics delicately balanced these days, nuclear power is the kind of policy debate that has all the appeal of a spent fuel rod, at least during this term of Parliament.